Hello, everyone, and good day. Well, good Sunday to you. And welcome to another episode of Grief Let's Talk About It podcast. As you know, I am Tony Lynch. I am your host. And today I got another great guest for you guys. She is an author. She's all around amazing, Tisha Winkler. And so without further ado, I'm going to bring her up here, and we're going to jump into her story. But before we get started, the lawyers wanted me to let you know that this is for entertainment purposes only. And if you are or in need of help, please seek professional help. Now, if it's your first time, do me a favor, go over to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, smash that bell notification so you'll be notified every time we drop a new episode. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up my next guest. You guys, let us know where you're from. If you have any questions, by all means, put them in the comment section for me. Tisha.
Good evening. How you doing?
Doing well. How you doing today?
I'm doing better. It's just nice and rainy in Baltimore, Maryland.
Well, at least you got the rain. You know what I'm saying? It's cold out here, man. It's cold out here in this beautiful state of Colorado. But you know, it is the season, right? You know, and yeah, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, do me a favor. Introduce yourself and tell people where you're from.
Yes, good evening. My name is Tisha Winkler. I was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. And I don't know if you could tell now, I'm 48 years old.
That's a beautiful 48. You know, I'm 49. So, you know what I'm saying? Here we go, you know. So you have an amazing story. So if you don't mind, let's dive into that and let's tell the audience how Tisha became who she is.
Well, I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland all my life. I always been a real shy child. When I was about 9 years old, my mother and father, they divorced. So during that time, I felt like a separation between my mother and father. And during that time, I felt like the depression spirit came on me then. Right. And so for years, over 20 years, I suffered with depression. Back and forth for years. I grew up stuttering as a child. So during that time in my life as a child, I had a speech pathologist, and I wasn't talking for like about 3 or 4 years, and my family thought something was wrong with me. But during that time, I just felt so withdrawn from people that I really didn't talk that much.
Right. Wow. That can be kind of hard, because I know a couple friends who have suffered with speech impediments and things like that. And I seen the way the other kids treated them when they were coming up, and I just never agree with that, right? You know, and I watched them get the necessary help that they needed, as far as the techniques that the teachers use to help them develop a lot better. Did you kind of experience the same things, coming up?
Yes, even growing up, even when I was like doing a teenager, about 12 or 13, I used to get bullied in school too. So the children would call me ugly. And I just went through a hard time growing up as a teenager most of the time. I had friends, but it still didn't take away the problems that I experienced with the negative effect it had on me.
Right. Yeah. Kids can be pretty cruel. And you know what I'm saying? Being 48, we're Gen Xers. So, hey girl, you know how we get down, right? You know what I'm saying? You know how we get down. We don't hurt people. We hurt feelings, man.
Yeah.
And, growing up in an environment like that, it has to, you have to develop some really thick skin, learn how to talk trash back, but sorry that you had to go through that. I'm laughing because I'm thinking about, when I was younger, the way that we used to do people, man. I'm like, I'm ashamed of myself now, now that I'm older. I'm like, man, here I am talking to Tisha, and I gotta know. I got some people I need to go and apologize to.
Oh, I do
too. So, but that wasn't the beginning, right? You know what I'm saying? That was just one part of your story of becoming. So what was the next few years like for you?
Well, the next few years, I mean, I'm not going to sit here like I had a wonderful child life. My mother and father, even though they was divorced, they had a wonderful relationship until my mom had passed away. They never had any hard feelings, and I really thought they still loved each other. But for years, I always had I had one or two good friends that we've been good friends for over like 35 years. So
Nice.
I think during like 18 years old, when I first went to college,
Uh-huh.
I didn't do too good the first year. I struggled with the English. I struggled with the math, and I was ready to quit. I mean, I had four more classes before I received my AA degree, but I
Uh,
had some issues in writing. But it's so funny, even though I had issues with writing, and I failed writing English in college 101, I failed it three times. And I felt like God was saying it was time to go back to take it again. And I was like, I was embarrassed, because when you fail in something continually, continually, I'm like, okay, I went back. And this time I took another English course and I made a B the fourth time.
okay.
So during that time, I was still in college. I took another English class, 102, but it was a creative writing class. And the professor said you can write a 10-page paper or a poem. Now, mind you, I barely could write one page at that time. So I wrote a poem, my first poem ever at 18 years old, and I received an A. And my professor said, I really think you should consider writing poems and writing a book.
See, and that is beautiful, right?
Yeah,
Because you got a book out, you got a poem book, and we talked about this, right? And
yeah.
it's just amazing that you go through and you have these challenges with English 101. I think everybody has problems with English 101, right?
I had a hard time.
Look, girl, look. I've been to college twice. I'm on my way back to college to get my master's,
Woo!
and you know, uh, English was not my best, nor was math. Now, granted, when I was in high school, I passed with a 4.2 GPA in all
Woo!
courses. Yeah, and still don't like math. Don't like English. Is confusing because the English language is so, um, to put it in a better way, so confusing. There's so many words in
Mhm.
there, and then you have so many different dialects that's entwined into the English language. Like we're the only. Think about this, right? We had to learn the difference between there, and there.
Oh my goodness, yeah, especially the THEYRE.
Right? And the crazy part about it is there's people out there struggling with it right now. They
Yes.
don't know the difference between there, and there, right? You know what I'm saying? They really don't. Or here and here.
Mhm.
One is with the ears, the other one is just like, hey, we're there now. That was a nice little pun. I didn't mean that, but it happened. But now you mentioned something. Your mother passed away, but the relationship between your mother and your father was good up until she passed away. Let's
Yes.
dive into that a little bit because I know how old were you, if you don't mind me asking, how old was you when she passed?
My mother,
Yes.
I might have been, let me see, I'm 48. I think I was 42 going on 43 years
Wow.
old.
Now, you had a pretty good relationship with both of your parents. So how did that
Oh, me and
affect?
my mother, we
Yeah.
had an awesome relationship. I lived with my mother until she passed away. This is my first apartment on my own.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how did that affect you? Um, going through life, going through school, and things like that.
You said going through life and going through school?
Uh-huh. When she passed.
Oh, when she passed away, I almost had a nervous breakdown. I actually wanted to commit suicide during that time
Wow.
because I couldn't handle the pain. If it wasn't for God and people embracing me and the women's group that he had it birthed out of me and the upper women's group, Hidden Treasures. I have a women's group called the Voice for the Voiceless Ministry. I don't think if God had allowed that to happen in my life, I don't think I would be here today because I was hurting that bad. The pain was so great when my mom had passed away because we had such a bond that I had never had on no one on earth like that. That love. Yeah.
And I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah.
And thank you for still being here with us. You
Yeah.
know, uh, we owe that to the man upstairs. He's
Mhm.
always looked out for us, even in our darkest moments. And wow, S- wow. I mean, I'm trying to formulate the right words because I do understand when you said the bond between you and your mother, it took me back to when I lost my mother as well.
Yes.
I was sitting there, and now, granted, I talked to my mom over the phone. throughout the years and things like that. So we always stayed in contact, but I never went home. I hadn't been home in close to 24, 25 years or something like that.
Mm.
And so, the last time I saw my mother, she was, up and running, saying same old personality. She's mom. She's the children. Your mom is our first love, right? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so that was my first love. She taught me how to be a good man, taught me what I needed to know as I was growing up, taught me how to survive in the world and things like that. And when you said that, I just remembered, when my mother passed away, her laying in the bed, she was already in a coma, and
Mm.
they were waiting for the major stroke to happen. And I just remember the feeling of, honestly, the feeling of abandonment.
Yes.
I didn't understand what it was, but it felt as if everyone had left me,
Mm.
right? And there
Yeah.
was no way of calling them up and saying, "Hey, where you at? Can I come with you?" And there was no way of me doing that. And the feeling of not being able to tell my mother that I loved her,
Yeah.
her seeing a man that I had become, and things like that. I didn't get the chance to do all of that, but I was there when she took her last breath. So I made sure that I was there. I was like, if you wake up, I'm here, right? And I'm constantly talking with
Yeah.
her and things like that. Let's talk about the grieving process that you went through, because we
Yeah.
all experienced that grief very, very differently.
Yes, the grief process with me, even though it's been 5 years, and I think people, when it comes to grief, because I actually want to start a grieving mission page and for women starting soon. I
Hmm.
think when you're going through the grief process, everybody think that you sort of get like a magical wand and just feel great every day.
Yeah.
Some days I feel very great, and some days something might trigger me, like a night, like a song,
Mm. Okay.
or I might see somebody that looks like my mom, so that might trigger me too. But the grieving process for me is everyone's grief process is different. It
Hmm.
seems like to me when I get by myself, that's when sometimes I get very depressed at times, at
Yeah.
moments when I'm by myself. And sometimes I have real great days, but anything could trigger me because me and my mom was so close,
Hmm.
and I think as I'm getting older, I'm starting to look like her. So it's like I'm looking at her in the mirror.
Girl, ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah. Go ahead.
And even with when I still go through the grieving now, because even during this month of December, this is the month my mother started to get sick.
Oh.
So I even felt like the pain last week. I had to cry for at least 15 minutes just to get myself together for work the other day. But I had to get the tissue out and just cry it out. And it takes time, and everyone's process is different. I think for me, when the holidays appear, that's when I have most of the depressing moments.
Yeah. I can definitely agree with that. I fared pretty good around Thanksgiving. You know,
Yeah,
um, it wasn't too bad. It was quiet. And I've been so used to being alone that it doesn't bother me anymore. Even
yeah.
though there are sometimes like yourself, I do find a new trigger. I definitely find a new trigger. Right, something may happen. I'm an old Motown kid, so I love listening to the Temptations. I love listening to Teddy
Oh,
Pendergrass. You know, going back old school. You know what I'm saying? Motown was my thing, but it was also my mother's thing, right? And a song came up that really, really got me in my feels, and by Michael Jackson, "Dirty Diana."
oh.
So believe it or not, that my mom's name was Diana, and when I heard it, here I am singing along with it, and all of a sudden, that pounding in my chest started, right, and it's
Yeah,
like my anxiety level went through the roof, and I began to think about my mother, and like you said, I had to it was everything that I could do to not fall apart. But then I knew, you know what I'm saying, in so many ways that if I didn't allow myself to fall apart, that I wouldn't be able to get myself back together again. So I found myself a nice little corner, and I sat there. And it's hard for men to admit this, but I'm not afraid to admit it anymore. Girl, I cried my eyes out.
Yeah.
My mom's been gone like yourself 5 years, and it was just like yesterday. It felt just like yesterday. Like you said, I had to sit down and I didn't have any Kleenex. I wish I did, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I had to cry it out, man. I definitely had to cry it out, and so during your grieving process, you said you went through the depression and things like that. Um, how does Tisha start to heal in this process of depression and dealing with the different stages that you may experience during your grieving process?
Well, right now I try to not only do I try to rely on God for like, the inner healing, but
Mhm.
I try to do some things that I enjoy doing because I know when I'm sitting stagnant and just, not doing anything, that's when I can feel the depression coming on. But sometimes I need to be still and, be comfortable and get the rest I need. But as like right now, I do podcasting with my publisher and we've been doing like different projects. I mean, I still had those moments when I come home by myself, but I'm learning to take one day at a time. I'm learning to not to hide how I feel because sometimes we mask how we feel and we
Yes,
know that we feel the pain sometimes. But
you good.
I'm just learning to be real with myself and others that sometimes I do hurt. And I'm learning now that it's okay and just to admit that I'm hurting and just to like I think I heal more when I pour into others.
Oh man, I love that you said that because I
Yeah.
thought I was the only one that enjoyed doing that, like doing podcasting or
Yeah.
doing my support groups, being around other people. Honestly, being around other people that speak the same language as me, this grief language, helps out. Having, as they say, finding your tribe and,
Yes.
and things like that. Being around others that can speak life into you. I've never had that before, right? I've never had people speak life into me or speak life over me and speak love into me. I like yourself. I relied on God for a lot of that stuff because
Mhm.
I was so ashamed of the way I felt. It just didn't feel normal to me, and there was just a sense of guilt.
Yes.
There is the sense of pride, not allowing my pride to take over my emotions, and I reverted back. I reverted back to when people used to tell me this is not what a man's supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
Men don't cry, right? You know what I'm saying? So deep down inside, I was like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? I can't do this. And the crazy part about it is that I know better. I know better. Now, did it stop it? No. I was still fighting, like you said, putting on that mask. I have to
Yeah.
be strong. I have to be strong. I don't even know who I'm being strong for anymore. I really don't. There's nobody else around me. So I'm like,
Yeah.
what am I being strong for? And I remember the last bout that I had, God said, hey, no, you need to give yourself permission to go through this process that I must take you through.
Yeah.
And I began to rely on his word, his wisdom, and he began to pour into me. Nowadays, I don't have too many people that pour into me. They're passing away. As the older we get, the more people pass away, right? So
Yeah.
there's been a lot of people passing away, but I allowed him to pour into me. In turn, it gave me the strength to pour to other people and things like that. And how great is God's love when it comes down to it,
Yeah.
you know? So yeah. And I have a question. The question is for Tisha, as you're allowing God to pour this into you. How did your journey change as you begin to step into um, this newfound world that you're now in?
My life has really changed because my family, they laugh at me now because even though when I was younger, I went to college and I worked. I went to college and I worked.
Uh-huh.
But my family said they see that God is really blossoming me at my later years in life, and I'm like, okay, God can do anything. I mean, it might have been my journey to start right here to help others.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and that's a great feeling, man. That's the best. Honestly, it's the best feeling I've ever had in this world,
Yeah.
right? And what I mean by that, and let me know what you think about this. But I think we talked about this before. Stepping into this new reality, um, it changes your perspective, the way that you see things across
Yes, it
this
does.
world. And I've been pretty blessed and pretty fortunate along the way, because I realized the thing that I was looking for when I was lost, you know, um, and how far I had ran from God and everything that was associated. I didn't, to be honest, in the beginning, I didn't want nothing to do with God. I was like, I'm tired of hurting, you
Yeah.
know, I'm tired of hurting. And like yourself, I had gotten to a place to where I was just like, I'm done. I threw my hands up. I'm done. I don't want to do it no more. Do whatever you need to do, but I'm done. And God said, sit down for a minute. And like a baby, he grabbed me and put me in his arms and cradled me. And he wrapped me. And I was like, and I've never felt anything like that before. It was a feeling of grace,
Yeah.
right? That warm feeling of being fulfilled. And then he set me back down. He goes, I will walk with you the rest of the way. And I said, okay, I tell you what, you walk with me, I'll fulfill my purpose to you, right? And that's what I mean, the contract, right? There's a contract when we serve other people, but we serve our Father by living within our gift,
Yeah.
you know. And I told him, I say, I'll fulfill my contract with you, and in turn, I'll fulfill my contract with the people that I serve. Just keep bringing me people to serve,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because this amazing gift that we have, we can't take it with us, right? And you expressed
No.
yourself in a way through poetry. How beautiful is that?
Mhm.
How beautiful is that, right? So let's
Yeah.
let's let's talk about your poetry. Let's talk about, and if you want to chime in on what I just said, or you want to add to it or anything like that, by all means, chime in. You know, but yeah, let's talk about Tisha and your poetry. I haven't had a
Yeah.
chance to read it, but I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yes. Well, I have three books. I have one book called Just a Thought, which is a poetry book.
Mhm.
And actually, that book is about betrayal, love, and hurt, and the things I went through, not only as a teenager, but my journey, in my 20s, and the things I went through. And it just bring on it's like, it transforms like into love and hurt and how you can get through the trials and the errors in your life. And my second poetry book is called The Hopeful Romantic, and it's a little different from my first book. This book is like, it's more fluffy, it's more loving, and it inspires women and men that you can have healthy, loving relationships, and
Mhm.
that you can fall in love again. And it's a nice I love romance. And
Understand.
my third book is called My Journey Here Was Not Easy, which is my life story from the beginning of my life up until now, the trials, the errors, even the success that I am dealing with now. And actually, those two books are on Amazon.com.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I was thinking about the romance thing because I'm kind of going. I used to be a hopeless romantic. Living,
Oh, okay.
yeah, used to. Nowadays, I don't believe in it. Um, and it may change.
Yeah.
I think, and I really, it's going to sound strange when I say this, but and maybe people may be able to relate, but I kind of gave up. I did. And I hate to, I'm not afraid to admit it or anything like that. 'Cause I've had my fair share of heartbreaks,
Yeah.
and in a lot of ways, when we experience that sting, especially after you go through some traumatic things, it kind of closes you off. And I don't like being that way, but I am that way.
Yeah.
And it kind of closed me off emotionally from wanting to, and I did try. So when like I'm just speaking from my recent experience, I did try, and now I am pretty just I'm just definitely just closed off from it now. It's like maybe it's not for me, sort of thing. But don't get me wrong, I love everyone.
Yeah.
Uh, I love everyone across, and I would give people the shirt off my back if that's what they need. You know what I'm saying? I would rather sit with someone and speak love into them and things like that because it comes from a sincere place. Now, for me personally, um, I'm honestly to a place now to where I don't think it's for me, right? I
Yeah.
really don't. So, yeah. But now your poetry book. Now I do love a good poem.
Yeah.
I do love a good poem. You got a good poem that you want to share with us?
Oh, sure. I gotta put my glasses on now.
Okay, okay. Put on glasses. You
Yeah,
had
I
to know
have to
I was
keep my
going to ask
glasses
you.
on.
Yeah, you had to know I was going to ask you to read one of those poems, and so let's dive into it, and tell me the meaning behind
Oh yes. I don't know. For some reason, I love all my poems, and sometimes I just have to go to something that I don't know. Maybe this poem is for you.
it. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Maybe it's for you. It's called "Are You Ready to Give Love?" And it says, "Time is full of new stages of our life. All I dream these days is being in Time is full of new stages of life. All I dream these days is being your wife. I have many obstacles in my life journey, but love will come and I will not worry. I am ready to give love away. Are you ready to receive my love? Love is willing. Love is waiting here for you. Will you open the package or send my love back? If you do not feel the same, I am ready to love and accepted by you. I will not force love on you. I want our love to be natural and free." And it said, "Are you ready to give love?"
Oh,
Are you ready, Mr. Tony?
no,
You said no.
I
Okay.
tried. But a beautiful, beautiful poem, right? You know what I'm saying? And I would definitely agree with that. I definitely would encourage people because this world is hard enough
Yeah.
alone. You know what I'm saying? I always encourage people if you can, if you find that one for you,
Yes.
like I said, I'm not naive to it, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely not naive to it, but I've been bit too many times.
Well, I've
Um,
been there too.
yeah, I've been bit too many times, and
Yeah.
so I think it's time for me to just hang up my hat and just focus on Tony and
Uh,
things like that. Now, I will give love all
Yeah.
day long because that's the most beautiful thing. You don't have to be romantically involved with anyone to give them love,
Yes.
right?
That's true.
Just like how our Father pours into us this love, this grace, this beauty, and things like that. He fills us. I want to give that to other people. I want to
Yes.
be a positive influence in them, right? It just means that I have more time to do it, right? Um, it's the old saying, people will always remember how you made them feel.
Yes. That's true.
And I honestly, I don't want no one to ever feel as if they're not worth it. I really don't. I mean, granted, it sounds hypocritical.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, it sounds hypocritical. But that's, honestly, I don't think anybody I don't want people to feel as if they're not worth the love that this world has to give them. Um, but I do encourage people, start with yourself first.
Yes.
Start with yourself first. And the main reason being, and you let me know if you agree or if you want to back tail off of it. But when you begin to love and treat yourself with respect, or treat yourself as if you're someone worthy of being taken care of,
Yes.
it makes it hard for people to start to mistreat you.
Ooh, I've been there.
That's what I mean, right? You know what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
definitely hard for people to mistreat you, especially when you go through the life that you described, going through the bullying, the depression, the loss, right? You know what I'm saying? And probably some pretty interesting relationships as well. You know what I'm saying? Because we develop that knowledge through experience,
Ooh,
right?
yeah.
So, I mean, but we're here.
Yes.
We're definitely here. And now where Tisha is in life, your father is still around?
Yes, my father's still living. Yeah, that's my buddy.
Okay, I was going to ask and how did your father, I always have to ask this because the male is the one usually trying to hide things, you know what I'm saying? But he has a daughter and things like that. How did the loss affect him?
Actually, I'd like to tell you this one, Mr. Tony Lynch. My father, for years, I mean, even since I was a little girl, my father cried all the time. I think he's more sensitive than my mother was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my father,
That's
he has no problem releasing emotions at all.
okay. See, I love that you said I love that you said that because I was totally the opposite, right? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And 90, I would say 90% of men that I consult with and things like that on a regular basis, they aren't very emotionally attached to things. So they express their anger, well, they express their trauma and their grief, their emotions in different ways, right? So it's always comforting to me when I could hear someone say that about the men in their family, like, hey, you know what, my father, he cried, or my brother broke
yeah,
down, expresses themselves and things like that. I think it's a beautiful thing. There's nothing more beautiful when a man actually understands that, hey, you're a human being. We don't have to
yeah.
be robots in this world or anything like that. So yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And you said your relationship with him is still good. You guys,
Oh yeah, I think we're even more closer now. But even at my mother's funeral, I think he cried more than I did. I'm looking at him like, because he was remarried, and I was like, oh my god, I'm like, he really going through over there.
right? Yeah, I, but that's good though.
Mm,
That's good. Tears are the pathway to your soul. It helps cleans us
yeah.
out. It definitely helps clean us out. Now, you started a podcast.
Yes, but you want to know how it started though?
I want to know how did Tisha get into this podcast world?
Oh my goodness, God is. Sometimes I just think God is funny. He is very funny.
Yes.
Me and my publisher, we've been good friends now for like 16 years, and I know she don't mind if I tell the story. But during one course in our life, we had stopped talking for a while,
Uh-huh.
and God told me to call her. I said, I'm not calling her. I said, she want to call me. She can come and apologize. I said, I'm tired of keep apologizing to people. So God kept telling me it was time to apologize. So I did apologize. So God had renewed our friendship. So one day we wanted to go to the mall to get some shoes because we like shoes. So we went to Security Square Mall to find some boots. But during that time, we saw all these flashing lights at Security Square Mall. So we thought it was an arcade. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to go to the arcade because we were both preschool teachers.
Uh-huh.
So we went there, and it wasn't an arcade. It was called the Coyote Man Show Network, where you have live podcasts. You can do acting. You can have live photo shoots. And it was just a place where you can get your brand together and do your own show at the network, and they do everything for you. And the Coyote Man asked us that we went our own podcast. We just went there for the photo shoot. We did the photo shoot and we went back for a meeting with him. He was like, I really think you should have a podcast because my Barbie's a publisher and author, and she published my first book, Just a Thought. So we actually started on the Coyote Man Show Network as called the Book Breakers Podcast, which was on there for like a year. Then Barbie had left for a while, and I actually stayed on there another year, and I was on another podcast called What a Difference a Day Make, and the Save the You podcast. And I was on the network for 2 years, and that's how I started into podcasting.
Wow, God is funny. I got something for you. Do this, that, and other, right? I did watch one of your episodes on the Saving Youth where you had the there was two girls, I believe.
Yeah.
And the one young lady, they were. God, I'm trying to remember the conversation, and it was.
She was a model.
Yes. Now,
yeah.
How fun is it to work with these children and, help bring their stories to life as well, right?
Yes.
In that episode, I want to talk about that episode because I found it heartwarming to listen to these children go. And I saw you on the side just looking at them, smiling and everything. I was like, look at her, she is enjoying herself like nobody's business over there.
I actually was having so much fun.
Yeah. So how did that episode come about? First of all, tell people what that episode was. I can't remember the name off the back. I do remember the video because you sent it to me, and so I was able to go through and check out a lot of the episodes. Now remembering names with my current events and things like that, probably not the best thing for me to do. So I'm gonna let you give respect to the name of the podcast.
Yes, I was the host of the Save the Youth podcast, and it was called the Save the Youth podcast and the Chemotap Youth Foundation. It was actually the Coyote Man. He wanted to start a podcast in honor of his daughter, Lil Coyote. She was one of the hosts with me, and she's a survivor of cancer. So actually, the network was helping not only for the Cancer Foundation, but it was helping the youth and different, youth in the community with multimedia. And sometimes they would come to the studio to get multimedia training. And the episode that she was talking about, our guest was Winter Noel Joy. And she's actually one of my good friend's daughters. She's actually a professional model. She's an actress and she's an author. And she's actually been like an extra on like different BET movies.
Really?
Yeah, so she really inspires me because I'm like, you're doing all this stuff at your age, and I'm just starting to get there.
Right? Oh man! Oh wow! So cancer survivor. I mean, that hurts my heart.
Yeah.
But it also makes me understand as well that how good God is.
Yes.
But it hurts my heart to hear that children have to go through it.
Yes.
And thank the Coyote Man for doing that for his daughter, and
yes,
thank God for her surviving and things like that. I always get scared when I hear people say that. I always do. And thank you for having her on the show and letting her come out and share a story, because I was putting the piece. I was like, I knew it was something, but I didn't want to be wrong.
No.
That's not what it was, Tony. I was like, oh, because I'll put down my head real quick. Oh, I'm sorry, Tisha.
Yeah, and she also has a YouTube page now too. Went to Noel Joy because she went through bullying I think in middle school. So she actually has been doing like different commercials about bullying now.
Oh, really?
Yes, and she has a book about bullying too.
Okay. Do you happen to know what the name of her book is?
I don't want to say it wrong. I know it's Just Thinking. I know she has a book called Just Thinking.
Okay.
And it's on Amazon.com too. Went to Noel Joy.
Well, you know what? The next time you talk to her, tell her thank you for being such an inspiration to the youth out here.
Yes.
That's another thing. You talked about bullying and things like that. Unfortunately for me, I didn't have to deal with the bullying when I was a child. Nor as I got older, I was because I was a fighter. Like you bully me, I'll punch you out. You know, like who you think you?
I was
You
a
know,
fighter too. My mother put me in Kim's karate. That's when I started to fight.
okay, okay. So you're out there wreaking havoc on people, not even showing
Yeah,
that
I
part
was
of
going
your
crazy
courage.
then.
Oh, girl, we got to talk about this. You need to even share that. See up there, got karate going on, throat punching people out there in the open. You better stop but I was I had a guest on not too long ago, and we was talking about the same thing, and in it we was talking about the LGBTQ community and how prominent the bullying was,
Yeah.
in that aspect of it as well. And here I am, I'm looking at Tisha, and I'm thinking to myself, like, who would bully you, right? I mean, think about it, like because by me not having the experience with the bullying, I can and I treat people. I would like to think I treat people with the utmost respect, um, and non-judgmental, or and
Yeah.
things like that. So, you know, and I'm thinking to myself, like, who would bully you? Like that doesn't make sense. But I guess it does in a lot of ways, right? Because we from a generation where we can be pretty doggone cruel.
Yeah.
We go back to that old motto: we don't hurt people, we hurt feelings. And it's it's that old saying, I got time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I definitely got time. Uh, so now you're in present day, and you have your success going. You come a long ways. Wrote 3 books, uh,
Yes.
and things like that. And you say you struggle with the success that you now have.
Also, I said no. I don't. No, I don't struggle with it at all. It's just I think I have trying to balance everything at one time.
Okay, okay.
Trying to juggle different things and many projects. I have a lot going on right now. Actually, me and my publisher we just started molding yesterday.
Oh, you know, I do look at that because it's like, man, I need somebody on my team just like your publisher. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
I'm not here doing everything on my own. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing the podcasting. I got all these other things coming up. I got a new book coming out. I got TV series coming out, and I'm thinking to myself, because it's one of those things, and I listen to you. I'm like, wow, success, what does that look like, right? And it
Yeah.
it goes back to something I heard Kevin Hart say. It happened, and I didn't even know that it happened. That was the funny part about it was, right? Because
Yeah.
I do me. I don't, I don't pay attention to a whole lot of things in this world. I keep my head down. I stay focused on the path that I'm on, the lane that I'm in. I don't venture off this way. I don't venture off that way. But the ideas that come to me, you know what I'm saying? These are things that I go, you know what? I wonder if I could, right? And so I pile that in there, right? And I go out and I do that, and I do all of these different things. And um, when I still didn't know that I was successful, even though everything had changed.
Yeah.
Everything had changed. You know what I'm saying? My bank account, I didn't pay attention to my bank account. I really didn't. I was like, oh, yeah, check, put that on there. Because I live very, very frugal. I live very frugal. There's only a few things that I may spend a lot of money on, like suits and shoes. Like you say, we love our shoes, right? You know what I'm saying? Gotta have
Oh
shoes to
yeah, I
match
love
the
shoes.
I'm right there with you. I have to have the shoes to match the suit. You know what I'm saying? If I get a red suit, I gotta get some red shoes to go along with it. Feel
Well, I'm
nice
still
and
checking my bank account.
I haven't checked my bank account in quite some time. When people go, we want to pay you to come do this. I'm like, all right, send it to me. It goes in my account. I don't even
Yeah.
I don't worry about it, right? I couldn't tell you how
Yeah.
much is it. All I know is when I go somewhere, as long as it goes through, I know I'm not broke.
Yeah.
But I don't do a whole lot of things though. I really don't. I've been pretty blessed and privileged in that aspect. Um, how did when you became successful? how what was the things that you recognized about yourself or about
Um,
your
ever-
environment
huh?
or about your environment, the people that are now surrounding you?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I noticed that sometimes people, even though you think people are sometimes happy for you, I found out really a lot of people wasn't happy for me.
No.
I
Okay.
think some people really wanted me to stay sad and depressed and broke.
Oh man, God, yes. Oh,
Yeah,
and, it's usually the people that are closest to you too.
yeah,
And this is funny, right? Because again, I don't pay attention to this thing, but I had a conversation with someone about 3 or 4 days ago, and they were telling me, they were like, well, you don't have the things that I have to worry about. At least you know the direction that you're going. You know why you're here. You know what your purpose is. You have a vision. You have a direction. It's like, yeah, but you got to understand, like what you're seeing right now is the years and years of hard work, the
yeah,
failures, what I'm saying, the ups and downs, the sacrifices, all of those things. Like I went years with nothing, right? Being broke,
yeah.
being
Same
literally,
here.
yeah. So and when it got done, they had said something else. I'm not going to repeat what they said because it was very negative, but it dawned on me. I said, so let me get this straight because this is what I'm picking up, even though I know that you're going to say no, but this is what I gathered from it. If I was the dude out there, and trust me, I have nothing against the 9 to 5 man. I'm all for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm all for good people having good jobs, right? But I was the guy doing the 9 to 5. I said, if I was the guy doing the 9 to 5 job and not doing the things that I was doing with no purpose in this world, no direction, no vision, you would be okay with me struggling paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
And they said, well, at least if you were struggling paycheck to paycheck, I could relate to you a lot more. Oh,
Oh, that's a woo.
oh, I did like this. I said, well, can't you just be happy for me?
Yeah.
And the most honest thing that they said, I would be happy for you if I had the sort of success that you had.
Oh wow.
And I did like this. I put my head down. I said, well, all right then. The other people, during the process, during the journey, came in, criticized me, well, praised me, criticized me behind my back, wished um, so much of a downfall on me that I didn't know, right? And these were people that I had in my circle.
Yeah.
Who TD Jakes? Are you familiar with TD Jakes?
Oh yes, definitely.
Okay, so he had a sermon related to what you just said right there, and what we're talking about right now. He said, when you're around people in your current environment, they love to see you go um, and do things, but the deep down inside, they said they need you to come back because what it does is that it sets up an example that gives those people that are doubting you behind your back,
Yes.
and what I'm saying, an excuse not to do what they're doing. But when you become and you exceed and you excel, they tend to push you away, talk bad about you, say that you've changed.
Yeah.
You changed. Look at you acting all brand new. Girl, look, you already know, right? You know what I'm saying? Look at you acting all brand new, buying. Look, I'm gonna use your example, buying boots and clothes and things like that. Look at you, right? You know what I'm saying? And then they walk away and be mad at you, right? And you like, hold on, but I didn't do anything. I'm just following my path, right? That's funny because
Yes, it's really funny. Yes, because I've been
oh
there.
oh my god, girl, oh my god, wow, um, wow. So what's next? What's next for Tisha? You got to set me up. I want to be on your show.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I told you or not, but I don't know if I sent you the last year and this year. Last year I won Newsom Award for Newsom World's Most Beautiful Woman,
Ooh, wee.
and this year I won Newsom Female Promoter and Author of the Year.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Oh,
so I'm still happy. I'm still excited.
I'm excited too, girl. You just inspired me. I'm like, girl, I, I want an award now. You know what I'm saying? Look, I'm not competing with you. I'm just saying I want an award too. I want to be
Oh
like,
yeah,
yeah, you know what I'm saying? I want a plaque.
but you yeah, I know you're a top aren't you a top seller on Amazon?
I am.
Yeah.
And you know the crazy part about it is, yes, my book did go #1 international bestseller. I often forget. I forget that I even did it. Right. That is it. So when I'm talking to people, it doesn't even I don't even mention it half the time. You know. So, but that's I guess there's part of me just remaining humble, not allowing my
Yeah.
proud, my pride and my ego to blow my head up like, hey.
I
So
know. Yeah.
I don't mention it. It is a great accomplishment,
It
you know,
is. Yeah.
and I'm blessed. I'm just truly blessed. But honestly, I'm off to the next adventure. You
Yes.
know, it was one of those things I never knew that was going to happen, but I always knew that I wanted something like that to happen. Write a book, see if I can do it, things like that. And I was pretty honored and privileged to work under the guy who helped produce this book, Nelson Dalton, and the 20 other people or the 19 other people who co-authored this book with us. You
Oh,
know,
okay.
so it was a huge accomplishment, but I never thought about it. And it's funny that you say that. This podcast was actually nominated for an award,
Oh,
and
go ahead. Woo, woo. And see, that's what I love. You know what I love though?
huh,
I don't know what it is, but I love other people accomplishments. I just like giving people their flowers while they're here.
yeah, most definitely. Right, I love that you said that. Right,
Yeah.
I don't want to give Tisha flowers when you're gone.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I'm with you as you're celebrating those little steps along the way, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I say you inspire me because I'm like, wow, yes, kudos to you, right? You know what I'm saying? Keep it going,
Right.
keep inspiring people and things like that. And so you got your awards. What's next for you?
Actually, well, we still want to get you on our podcast soon. Me and my publisher, we're doing our podcasting on our own now. It's still called the Book Breakers, but we're on YouTube and we're doing it like on Zoom and like interviewing different people. We actually was an extra in a movie too this year.
What?
Yes.
Can you tell the name of the movie?
Oh yeah, it's called The Volunteer, and the lady that's her husband is called Lanier Jordan. It's called Jordan Productions.
Okay. Definitely. Is it where can I find it?
Actually, it comes out. I think the teaser is going to come out on Tubi in January 2024.
I'm gonna be looking out for that because that's just next month.
Yes.
And you know I do Tubi now. You know what I'm
You
saying?
like
Tubi is
Tubi?
my oh yeah, Tubi is my go-to. Look, I can find all the old movies. Now it is my go-to, but I'm careful because I know somebody right now who Tubi's out and they get wrapped up into um, the romantic movies.
Oh, the room. Yeah.
Tend to forget that it's a movie and not reality.
Yeah.
So they tend to go, well, you got to have this in your relationship. You got to have this in your relationship. And I tried to tell this individual, I was like, just so you know, when you have troubles in your relationship, it's because you're basing it off actors. That's not real life.
Yeah.
And I had to share a different perspective with her. I said, no man wants drama in their life.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be the source of their peace, not the source of their chaos. Now, when you become the source of their chaos, it's not good for your mental health. It's not good for their mental health. But if you're wrapped up into this world, um, it's going to make it really hard for a person to connect with you and you to connect with them, because then you start to fabricate dramatic scenarios that are
Mhm.
not real. So hopefully that helps her. But again, I tube it out some from time to time, but I do like watching. They got a lot of older movies on there, so you
Yeah,
know. So definitely looking out for the Volunteer coming out
yeah.
January 2024. The teaser's coming out, so I'm definitely going to be looking out for your movie and things like that. Um, and with that being said, as we begin to wrap this up, I always ask my guests if there was something that you can leave the audience, what would you leave them with?
Yes, try to do something a little different, but if I could leave the audience with anything today, I would just like to inspire people because maybe in my own life, never give up on your dreams.
Right.
I don't care how old you are. You can be 30, 40, or 50 years old. You never know what you have inside that God has put on the inside of you, not only to help you, but to help others and even generations after you. So, whatever you're doing today, whatever task that you want to do, whatever things that you have captivated in your heart that you want to do a movie, do podcasting, or just take a trip around the world. You can do it. Just put your mind to it, and your dreams will come true.
I love that. I definitely love that. Tisha, thank you for being on the show today. I look forward to having more
Thank you.
conversations as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, and to everyone who is going to be tuning in later, do me a favor. If you made it all the way to the end and you love these conversations, do me a favor, go hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel, hit that bell notification so you'll be notified every time we drop a new episode. I know you guys heard me at the beginning, but I'm going to say it again. And if you guys would like, leave a comment. If you know someone who can benefit from these conversations that we have, share this with them. And with that being said, Tisha, again, thank you for being on the show today and sharing your story with us, your accomplishments.
Thank you.
So inspiring. I'm looking forward to more. And for everyone else out there, thank you for tuning in. I am Tony Lynch, and this is going to conclude another episode of Grief Let's Talk About It podcast. Until next time, peace.
All right. Thank you.